Make sure you subscribe to JerCrispy.
I'm going a new buzz now. What's up, y'all? It's your host with the most that does most. JerCrispy. Welcome back to another video. Today, I got you direct FNDB. The scariest movie I ever watched. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow on social media. It's gonna pop up on the screen. Let's see what the dog got. It's been a minute since we watched the dude. Let's see what he got for us for today. And we're on the road to 300. Subscribe. And follow on social media. It is gonna pop up on the screen.
It's no secret that I didn't like horror movies growing up. They scared me. But what if I told you the scariest movie I ever watched wasn't a horror movie at all? It wasn't the movie that haunted me as a kid, or even the one that scarred me as an adult. Instead, it was a movie that's a little out of the ordinary.
Good morning!
How?
But why? How did such an innocent looking movie scare me so much? Well, I'ma show you. Today, I'ma go over The Truman Show. My goal by the end of this video, to help you truly understand why it's the scariest movie I've ever watched. I ain't gonna be alone in this. And what better place to start than at the very beginning? We open up the movie with our very ordinary main character, Truman Burbank, talking to himself in the mirror, as ordinary people do. And Truman is just your average Joe. He actually might be better than one. He wakes up in a jolly mood, greets his neighbors with a big smile on his face, holds the door for people at work. I mean, it's Jim Carrey. How can you not like him? He's just a good guy surrounded by good people in a very nice ordinary town. At least, that's how it seemed at first. Until one day while going about his regular routine, you know, greeting his neighbors, greeting the dog, Truman hears something coming from the sky. Then, a loud crash on the road right next to him. He goes to investigate, and it's some sort of studio light. Then, after that silly little incident, we see Truman go about his day and go to work. And see, even the radio conveniently said it was nothing. It was just some plain cargo that fell out the sky. See, I told y'all it was nothing to worry about. Just plain cargo. Just plain cargo. And while Truman is on the way to work, this is when we get a really good look at the town that Truman lives in, Sea Haven. And I see why it's considered a haven, cause it looks great. Freshly cut grass, no heavy traffic in sight, no dog boo-boo on the sidewalks, not even a single crackhead. Mwah, it's perfect. A little too perfect. After picking up a magazine and a conversation with these kinda aggressive twins, alright bro, you don't gotta push me, we can stop and talk, just ask. We see Truman at work, and after some dude shows Truman a newspaper saying their town is the best place on earth, yeah okay buddy, I said it's perfect, but not that perfect. We see Truman on the phone with someone asking for a lady named Lauren Garland or Sylvia Garland. Wait, I don't think that's his wife's name. When Truman is interrupted by his manager who tells him he has to handle some work at the harbor, which may seem like it's, you know, whatever, but we see Truman is hesitant to do this job. Why, you may ask? Well, it's cause Truman, like some of you probably watching this, is scared of the ocean. And not like, oh, I'm scared to go into deep water, or oh, I'm scared a shark gonna take a chunk off my butt. No, this is like me and dolls, woman and Axe body spray wearers, rod wave and a salad. Truman is not even comfortable going near it. He won't travel on it, won't stand on structures built over it, and he's definitely not dipping his toes in. Nada. And again, you might be wondering, why? Why is he so afraid? Well, we get our answer that very same day, when later at night, after a convo with his best friend Marlon about leaving Sea Haven to go to Fiji. Really? Fiji? You don't want to weigh your options? Maybe Greece, Japan? I don't know. At least Detroit got the Pistons and Corey Kenshin. I'm going there before I get up and leave to Fiji. What's in Fiji? We see Truman sitting by the beach, reminiscing. Dang, that moon's really detailed. Reminiscing about what, you may ask? Well, his fear of the ocean. It turns out the reason Truman is terrified of it is not because the ocean almost drowned him or held his family for ransom or anything like that. It's because one day during a boating trip with his dad, Truman and him got caught in a powerful storm. So powerful that it knocked Truman's dad off the boat, and his dad didn't make it. So that's why Truman fears the ocean so much that he refuses to travel on it, even if it's for work. Yeah, I mean, you win some, you lose some. And while Truman is dramatically sitting on the beach, out of nowhere, another weird occurrence happens. When it starts raining, but only on Truman. What the? Eventually it starts raining around him, but I'm sure at this point, you can see there's some weird stuff going on in this perfect town Truman lives in. And it only becomes more clear as we continue. Truman
Hold up, ain't it? This is, no, I think that's gotta be something like, I think I know what this is. I never watched it. but I watched somebody explain about this. This got to be I forgot, but the dude was talking about he feel like he's alone and he's by himself on some stuff. I'm about to get a snack real quick, y'all. Crap, it's right here. Oh shit! Tripping and slipping in this motherfucker. Tripping and slipping in my thing. Tripping and slipping in my thing. I don't know. Yeah, so he felt like he was alone by himself and something, and like the world is fake around him. Everything is fake. Something like that. I don't know. Scared.
Comes home, clothes all soaked. And for the record, don't try this. Nothing good comes out of it. Unless good to you is an apology after a whooping, just don't try it. Truman sits down with his wife Meryl and tries to convince her to come with him. They can leave together, explore the world. But Meryl tells him, no Truman, we have bills to pay, a whole life here. We can't just leave it all behind. And I thought we were gonna try for a baby. Aww. Boring. I don't want no baby. I want to go to somewhere spontaneous like O Block or something. After Meryl turning down Truman's idea, we cut to the next day. And this is when stuff gets really weird. We again see Truman do his normal routine, you know, say hello to the neighbor, drives to work, picks up his magazine, all that stuff. But as Truman is heading into work this time, out of nowhere in this crackhead-free town, he sees what looks like a crackhead, or at least a meth head, right in the middle of this busy street. And to those of you who don't deal with these kind of people often, don't worry, they're harmless. Most of the time. Right. So the weird part isn't that people are ignoring him.
Especially in Baton Rouge, they harmless. But at night, some crazy ass motherfuckers. And New Orleans ones too.
Normal. I do it all the time. The weird part is when Truman gets close to the crackhead and realizes it's his dad. Then
What's in these? What am I tasting? Doritos?
Mommy, who is...
out of nowhere, while Truman's trying to figure out what the heck is going on, these two people drag the man away. Truman chases after them, but after a bunch of convenient obstacles get in his way, a bus takes his potential father away. This combo with all the weird stuff happening lately, yeah, Truman had questions. So he goes to the one person we all go to when we need answers, our mama. Truman tells his mom that he saw his dad dressed on the street as a homeless dude for some reason, and his mama tells him, oh Truman, you tripping. Your daddy ain't homeless. He ain't even alive. Truman tells her it was him. I know it was. But she tells him, look, Truman, you're just feeling guilty about the boating trip. That may or may not have been your fault. But I don't blame you, Truman. I don't judge you. But it was too late. Not even the words of his mama could stop what was building in Truman at this point. A suspicion of the world around him. Once Truman gets home, we learn these events aren't the first time weird occurrences like this have happened to him. You see, something even weirder happened to him back in his more youthful days. We get a flashback to Truman in high school when he was a part of the band. I was more of an art class kind of guy myself, but band did seem...
I was like an athlete type of guy, you feel me? Just play football and sports like that. I ain't never do band or art. I was trying to do art, but they ain't something again.
Fun. Never theater though. I'll never be a theater kid. And as you can tell, he does not look like a high schooler. Man, I thought Euphoria and Grease high schoolers looked old. Look at Marlon. We see what's supposed to be a young Truman lock eyes with this girl who was staring at him. And not to brag, but I've received this look plenty of times. So when I first saw this, I knew it was love at first sight. Right. Oh, you think I'm lying? I am. Still love at first sight though. While Truman and this mystery girl are making out with their eyes, they're interrupted by Truman's future wife. Yay. But that was only the start of Truman's connection with this mysterious girl. We then cut to Truman's prom. Come on, bro. They're not even trying to hide it. This dude in the back is balding. When suddenly, he sees a familiar bracelet. It's the mystery girl again. But instead of this time her magically vanishing when Truman gets distracted, she gets taken away by some, I don't know, some random security from the prom? Come on, bro. That's just jealousy. But don't worry. Truman runs into this mysterious lady one more time in the library, where he finds out her name is no other than Lauren Garland. Yeah, the lady Truman was asking for earlier on the phone, this is her. But why was he asking for her? What happened to her? What was the weirder thing that happens in this flashback? Can you stop? Questions? I'm getting to that. Lauren tells Truman they shouldn't be speaking. Forbidden love. Truman asks, why? Oh, you have a boyfriend. That's where it is. Or was it that girl you saw me at the dance with? Oh, come on. That's Meryl. Meryl. I don't even really like her like that. She's just kinda there, you know? And before Truman can continue questioning, Lauren tells him they should go to the beach now, which probably had Truman thinking he was about to go skinny dipping or something, so he agrees. They arrive at the beach, and after a shared kiss, geez, y'all seen each other 3 times. You don't even know her favorite color, Truman. Lauren tells Truman they'll be here soon. Wait, who will be here? And she tells Truman his whole reality is fake. They know everything he does at all times, everyone is pretending, and her name isn't even Lauren, it's Sylvia. Like, Sylvia Garland. Someone goes to get Sylvia, claiming to be her father and saying she
Yo, so I was right.
has schizophrenia. But Sylvia persists, saying everything's fake. The sand, the sun, the moon. I knew it was too detailed. I knew it. Truman in his confusion asks her dad where they're going. And he says, Fiji. This moment was mind-blowing on the first watch. Because this is when we realized the crazy possibility that Truman doesn't love his wife at all. And also, the world he lives in might be fake. Either way, all these weird occurrences reminded Truman of Sylvia and made him even more suspicious of the world around him. Suddenly, he starts noticing even more things. The radio malfunctioning and picking up what sounds like someone announcing his exact location. Newspapers conveniently talking about the homelessness issue in the city after he saw that crackhead. And craziest of all, cars stopping for him in traffic.
Huh?
Actually, Truman, I think that last one happens regardless. Truman's suspicion was at an all-time high. He even switches routes to see how the people in town will react, discovering what looks like to be a set. Truman was spiraling, so he decides to go to someone else he could always talk to, his best friend Marlon. They say and watch the sunset as Truman expresses all his concerns, and he asks Marlon how traveling outside of Sea Haven was. And Marlon tells him he went all over the world, but nothing was like this place. See, again with the cap. I haven't seen a single Italian spa, Mediterranean spa, Mexican spa, and y'all trying to tell me you have the title for the best place in the world? Yeah, right, buddy. Burger and fries can't hold you up for that long. We then also see Truman spending time with some more people he actually trusts, his mom and his wife. They're going through their photo albums together, you know, baby photos, childhood photos, wedding photos. And this scene is adorable. I used to love doing this with my mom back in the day. Tragically though, I was a fat baby. And it looked like this worked. All this reminiscing on the good times makes Truman think, you know what? Maybe he was tripping. Maybe instead of worrying about trying to go to Fiji, he should just appreciate what he has here in Sea Haven. Aw, that's nice. At least that is what he felt for a moment. Until Truman looked over at the wedding photo with his wife and noticed her fingers were crossed. Yeah. If I said Truman's suspicion were at an all-time high before, this brought it to a whole new level. He started questioning where his wife even goes when she goes to work.
That's crazy. Imagine you getting married and you look at your pictures and she crossed her fingers just like her, just like this. That's crazy. Especially if you like rich. You rich or you making money like that, my nigga? Like, if you making money like that, oh, I'm looking at this picture. That's why. I mean, if you're making money like that and all that, it's kind of crazy. It's really crazy. That wasn't your bitch in the beginning. That wasn't your girl in the beginning. Never was. In the beginning.
He starts noticing patterns in the neighborhood. The same man, same woman, same car, going around the block over and over and over again. This was the final straw. Truman knew he had to leave for Fiji. But when he gets to the travel agent, she conveniently tells him everything is sold out. Then when he goes to take the bus out of town, the bus breaks down. Y'all see what it's looking like, right? After realizing he's out of option, Truman takes things into his own hands. One afternoon, while showing Meryl the patterns he's been witnessing these last few days, he decides, you know what? Let's go to Fiji right now! Locks the car and starts driving. Is this kidnapping or would it be considered romantic because they're married? Truman takes Meryl on a joyride, and I can't lie, Truman looks like he has lost his mind. Thought he was about to start tweeting, but he didn't. In fact, Truman was more sharp and perceptive than ever. He noticed all of a sudden now that he's trying to leave, there's a traffic jam. How convenient. So Truman decides, you know what? Let's just go home. Psych! Truman fooled them. Now the road was clear and there was nothing to stop him. Truman drove nearly all the way out of town until the ocean. Truman and Meryl stare at this bridge, and Meryl tells Truman, let's go home. You know you can't drive over water. Meryl, yes, Truman? You got this. Truman closes his eyes and makes Meryl drive the car through the bridge by herself. And somehow, they make it. They're out of the town. Truman has finally left that weird place. But a few minutes into their drive, after we see Meryl complain about the whole idea, your mother won't like this one bit, Truman. Truman and Meryl are stopped by the authorities. Don't worry, they're not in trouble. Look at them. There was apparently a leak at this power plant, and Truman asked the officer if there's any possible way for them to go around. The officer tells them, nah. Truman says, well, thanks for the help anyways. And the officer says, you're welcome. Truman? He said his name. How would he know his name? Truman starts freaking out and attempts to run away on foot. But alas, there was too many of them. So they captured Truman and sent him home. Truman back at home is on the brink of collapse. He starts asking Meryl why she even wants to have a kid with him when she clearly can't stand him. And Meryl gives the response I think any loving wife would give in this situation. She starts doing an ad placement. Truman is confused, but Meryl just keeps talking about some Mococo drink made from cocoa beans all the way from Mount Nicaragua. Truman loses it. He starts pressing Meryl, asking her what's happening, and convinces himself that she's a part of this. Meryl grabs some silver and threatens to use it against Truman, but Truman turns it on her. And in her panic, Meryl screams up to the sky, do something! This confuses Truman even more, making him question even more, making him press her even more. But before things can escalate even further, we hear someone at their door. Hey, it's our boy Marlon with a few cold ones.
Oh.
Bad time? Truman and Marlon sit at their usual spot, and Truman tells Marlon he thinks he's losing his mind, and that he feels like the world revolves around him. Oh, but when I told my therapist that, he just called me a narcissist. Marlon starts telling Truman all this sentimental stuff about how they used to cheat off each other's papers, and how he's like a brother to him. And Marlon tells him if he thinks everyone is in on this big lie, wouldn't he have to be in on it too? And this right here, these words, they did something to Truman. I'll explain in a second what I mean, because Truman and Marlon's chit chat wasn't over yet. Marlon tells Truman there's a reason he stopped by his crib tonight. And then, that's when we see it. The crackhead from earlier, who was actually Truman's dad. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, Truman was sure. With what Marlon said a second ago, and now this, his father magically coming back to life, Truman was 1000% sure about what most of you guys are thinking right now. Truman is in a TV show. Yes, it's true. That's the whole thing that scares me with this movie. We learn from the creator of the show, Christoph, that Truman's life has been being broadcasted since he was a baby. Actually, even before that, because Truman was also broadcasted when he was in the womb. Meaning, he's had this man Truman doing subathons since he was a zygote. But instead of it being for 30 days, it's been happening for the last 30 years. This would be absolutely terrifying to find out. Imagine your mom, your dad, your siblings, your friends, bro, even your dog or cat, all of them, just actors. They don't care about you. When your dog would come to lick you or your cat would come to snuggle his head on you, he doesn't care. He's just trying to get his next check. But it doesn't end there. This whole
What's up, you guys? I just got vegetable, fruits, these two briskets, all paid for with this card right here. Here's the health allowance card.
Damn, dark skin ass skin.
told you in the TV show thing also means your whole life, the one you are living right now, has been orchestrated, planned out. All those times people roasted you, your first heartbreak, even that one job you took that summer that you absolutely hated, was really just a group of people in a writer's room like, James, wouldn't it be funny if we made it so Derek has like a horrible accident when he's young and he's forced to get braces? I know. And then we can make his dad leave. That's literally how the show works. And the main man running the show is Christoph. We see him doing a Q&A, you know, them old school calling and asking questions, things like they used to do on the radio. And we learn this show is extremely popular. Like, forget Kai and Speed for a second. This dude Truman is the biggest streamer on earth. He even got people in Japan watching, which is another scary thing. Not the fact that they're Japanese, that's okay. Imagine 1.5 billion people. No, wait, we don't gotta do that many. Imagine just 30 people, the size of a classroom, watching you day by day, week by week, year over year. All your good moments, your bad moments, and scariest of all, the moments you're doing something you wouldn't even want your mama seeing. Yeah. Truman's puberty arc must have been real awkward to film. Christoph is still answering incoming calls when we see him get a call from someone familiar. It's Sylvia, who we find out the whole time was actually an activist trying to free Truman from the show. Christoph tells her that he's actually letting Truman live a normal life and that the real world is the sick place. Well, he is right about the real world being sick. Did y'all see they said GTA 6 might be $100? Like, what? He also tells Sylvia Truman can leave whenever he wants and that she's just mad that he prefers his cage. Right. Sylvia hangs up saying that Truman's gonna prove him wrong, and then we cut to the next day, where it looks like the father thing worked. Truman's back to normal. He does his routine, goes to work. They even introduced a new love interest for him. Truman divorce arc coming soon. But when Truman gets home, he makes an interesting decision. He decides to sleep in the basement. And Christoph notices this and tells the guy monitoring Truman to zoom in and isolate the audio. Ain't this the 90s? What kind of Spy Kids technology is this? They hear Truman snoring, but that wasn't enough for Christoph, so he sends over Marlon. And when Marlon gets there, he discovers Truman is missing. The town immediately goes into high alert panic mode. They check every camera, pull out every main character, side character, and extra. They even brought out the son. Still, they couldn't find Truman. Side note, I told y'all about them dogs. Dude went from super sweet to looking like Sonic Unleashed. Christoph was panicking until he realized they weren't looking everywhere. They were missing one spot. One spot they never ever expected Truman to go. The ocean. And that's exactly where he was, on a boat sailing away to finally leave Sea Haven. But Christoph wasn't about to let that happen. Like something straight out of Hunger Games, he calls for this dude to cast a storm over Truman's boat. But Truman is resilient, so he holds on. Christoph though, Christoph is even more stubborn. He strikes Truman's boat with lightning over and over and over again, but Truman still stands. He even starts singing. He tells them to up the winds and to capsize him, but the dude controlling it refuses to, knowing it could potentially kill Truman. So Christoph does it himself. Powerful waves come crashing down on Truman's boat over and over and over again. Christoph eventually calls off the waves, but it looked like it was too late. Until he's alright. He survived somehow. Probably got some fractures though. Now with no one trying to stop him, Truman sails all the way till he runs into a wall, realizing the sky was really just a painted studio wall the whole time. See, this only proves my childhood theory that the sky is some sort of painting / hologram thing.
So, like, we basically saying, like the Truman Show is basically saying that people is really trying their own life. They saying we living in the Matrix and shit like that. I don't know.
I'm still working out the kinks. Truman walks along the water until he finds a staircase that leads to an exit sign. Truman Burbank, more like Truman Skywalker. Am I right, fellas? But before he can walk out, Christoph starts speaking to him. He tells him the truth about how he's in a TV show and he's the star, and he also tells him that he knows him better than anybody else, and that he knows that he doesn't want to leave. He's too scared to. And Truman delivers the perfect response that nobody was expecting. In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And then he just leaves. To where? I have no clue. The movie ends with Sylvia running out to look for Truman. Does she even know where she's going? And these two dudes watching as the Truman Show cuts transmission for the first time ever. And then they're like, well, what else they got on? Let's check. As you guys can see, this movie is very, very scary. Or at least the concept is. And it's very worthy of the title, the scariest movie I've ever watched. Now, the creepiest movie I ever watched, that's probably a horror movie. Comment down below any more movies you guys want me to go over. Or DM me them on.
Anyways, there's my boy JerCrispy. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow, so that you meet did pop up on the screen. And it's kind of crazy. Down. I see y'all when I see y'all. Love y'all to the bottom of my heart. I'm out.